Another night where I try to flee these pain-filled eyes. A red man stands by my side. He says, son, don't you know I can make you fly? Lean a little closer and I'll tell you a secret. Let us make a deal, now you can take it or leave it. Well, I only ask for your heart and your soul.
Welcome back to another episode of BSing Sports, where we do a little BSing and we talk a whole lot of sports. Did I get that one right?
Using my line.
Yeah, I am using your line, dude. I think it's more of like a podcast phrase at this point. Unless you want to go ahead and get it copyrighted, and then I'll pay you 10 cents every time I say it.
On it.
Deal. But yeah, welcome back to another episode, guys. As you noticed, I've altered the intro a little bit. Bill, why don't you go ahead and tell us about good old Tim here and his little name we got going on there.
Oh, yeah. So we have, as you guys can see down there, Timmy, what was seasonal host, is no longer our seasonal host. We've decided to bring Timmy on full-time. He will be part of the BSing Sports podcast, which leads us, obviously we're super excited to have Timmy on. He's been really good. He's been an objective opinion, which we really needed. Ryan and I agree way too much.
Yeah, excited. That's the word.
Yeah, very excited, which leads us into the next bit of information.
Yeah, Ryan? Our only gift to Timmy was that he gets to change his name to Tim at BSing Sports. That's all he got. Anyway, so the reason for that is, one, we needed the objective opinion, and it's nice having Tim on the show. That is the primary reason. However, with some big news coming from the show, we are expanding into a network. We are no longer going to be just BSing Sports, the show. We are going to be BSing Sports Network, which entails, us, recruiting sponsors, other podcasters, things of that nature. So there's going to be times where Bill and I may not be present for our show. I know that's heartbeaking to all the fans that have been following, for the whole time, especially me, because I have the best beard on the show. But, so there's going to be times, and we needed a more permanent face to the show, one that's going to be around the whole time, should Bill or I not be there, or either one of us be there. Maybe Tim will actually run a show by himself one day. So congratulations. Welcome to the team, Tim. For those of you that have followed the whole journey, it's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get better. Bill and I are doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make this network happen. So any extra support that you guys want to give us, every share, every like, every comment, any subscription, anything to help us out at all, is always greatly appreciated, and in helping us expand our stuff. That being said, Tim, the other part to your gift is you get to take over this show. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what we're talking about today?
Well, before I do that, I want to say thank you to you guys that added me on full-time. I really appreciate that. And I'm more than ecstatic to help you guys out whenever you need it. Thank you to the comments that I've seen already. Really appreciate it. But today's show, we are, as the title says, Wild Wild West. So we will be talking about the NFC West and the AFC West. We're going to start with the AFC. Guys, how do you think this division is going to go this year?
You're hosting, Timmy. Tell us who's talking first, buddy.
No pressure.
Ryan.
All right, so the division as a whole, it's going to be exactly like the title of the show says. It's going to be Wild Wild West. You think about all the free agent acquisitions that came in through the offseason. 90% of them were with the AFC West, and most of the big trades were as well. Khalil Mack going to the Chargers is huge. Russell Wilson going to the Broncos is huge. Devontae Adams to the Raiders is huge. And then really the Chiefs didn't make any big time acquisitions, so to speak, but they drafted well. They drafted Sky Moore. They drafted a corner whose name I studied before the show, and it literally just slipped out of my head in the first round. So the Chiefs actually probably have the biggest loss in Tyreek Hill, which, on paper, the Chiefs would have always been a favorite to run away with the division. And now it seems a little bit more even and parred out for the course. Generally speaking, this division is going to be wild. It would not surprise me if every team went 3-3 against each other in the division. I don't think that would surprise too many people. Do you want me to give my overall prediction, or do you want me to wait until the end?
Wait until Billy goes. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, as a whole, as a division, Ryan really said a lot of it. It's going to be a close division. I have them ranked all very close together. I think you'll be surprised the order to which I have them in. However, I do have every team ranked very close together. I think 3 playoff teams come out of this division. I said it. You heard it. I believe it. 3 playoff teams come out of this division. And it's probably one of the strongest divisions in the football league right now. And it's going to be a shootout from start to finish. All 17 games are going to be needed. I firmly believe that. And yeah, I'm excited to watch it go down.
All right. Before we go into predictions, I want to know who your top fantasy player on each team is.
Top fantasy player on each team. I mean, I feel like the Chiefs and Chargers are super easy. You've got Mahomes and Herbert, 1-2. I feel like it's hands down simple. Those are going to be the top 2 guys.
Kelsey's also up there for the Chiefs just due to positional scarcity and lack of competition, so to speak, for targets.
I would agree with that. I think Herbert is a clear winner for the Chargers. Some people can argue Eckler. I don't see it this season, especially with Isaiah Spiller going to be taking up some of his reps. You've got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Mike Williams is huge boomer bust, so it just doesn't stand out to me. So Herbert, I think, is the runaway for the Chargers. For the Raiders, I mean, it's either got to be Derek Carr or Devontae Adams, right? Devontae Adams, fun stat, has 4 drops in his last 374 receiving targets, I think the stat was. Now, obviously, Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback throwing him the football for most of those. But that's still a pretty amazing stat, 4 drops in that amount of passing attempts in his direction, reception attempts in his direction. So it's either Derek Carr or Devontae Adams coming out of the Raiders, and then for the Broncos, Williams, not Wilson, Williams.
Okay.
I'm the exact opposite for the Broncos. For me, it's Russ. Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams are still going to split touches. In practice, it's been reported about a 55-45 split, which is probably right about par where I thought they would be. Wilson obviously elevates everybody on an equal plane. So I think Russell Wilson.
Jeez. There it is. No, hold on. I got it.
We get to it. We'll get to it, Jake.
Yeah, we'll get there. I don't know what he thinks they're going to win, but I wanted it on purpose.
I will handle the comments. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, but for me, it's Wilson. No, Ty, definitely not Javonte.
Definitely
Very dark horse. This is what I like to see, fellas. Thank you for the interaction, by the way.
Thank you.
But yeah, for me, it's Wilson on the Broncos. He elevates everybody the same, and Javonte just won't get enough solo work in the backfield for him to stand out just quite yet. For the Chargers, it's Herbert. Allen's probably the next one up for me, just because he's Mr. Consistent. He'll be a top 12 wide receiver. Devontae Adams for the Raiders. He's easily their best pass catcher. And I don't necessarily have faith that Derek Carr is elevated all the way into like a top tier status. So, but Devontae Adams has enough, behind his under his belt that he is the best weapon on that team. And then for the Chiefs, it's like I said, probably just due to positional scarcity and lack of target competition. It's probably Travis Kelce for me, but.
Yeah. Obviously, Kelce is the number 2 there.
You can bring up Ty's comment. I didn't.
So,
sorry, I'm trying to get to the banner thing that you've got going on down here. I'm waiting for Timmy to pick a specific team so I can pull that one up.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the Raiders first.
Raiders first. Boom.
You would do it backwards of the picture.
Tell me what you think about them, guys. Go ahead, Bill. Like your overall opinion.
All right, so I've got the Raiders. The offseason acquisition of Devontae Adams. I know they gave away a lot of picks, but obviously Devontae Adams is a heck of a talent, and he's going to make Derek Carr better. He's going to make Hunter Renfrow better. He's going to make Darren Waller better. He's going to make the run game better. Just being on the field, he's going to make all these things better. So I think Derek Carr has a better season than he did last year, where he went for 68.4 completion percentage, 23-14 touchdown interception ratio. And the running back by committee isn't something that I typically enjoy. However, Kenyon Drake showed a lot of great flashes last year. Josh Jacobs is a really good running back there in Oakland. So for me, the Raiders are finishing at about 10-7. in their division. And I believe that they are one of those 3 playoff teams coming out of the division.
I actually also have the Raiders finishing at 10-7. That's pretty funny. A couple different reasons.
Why Tim needed to be here.
The obvious, massive upgrade in the receiving core. They now have a true number one. I know Hunter Renfrow had a fantastic season last year, but ultimately a lot of that was aided by lack of target competition. And as far as Josh McDaniels coming in and implementing a completely different offense, he is the master of, like Bill touched on, not just a single running back taking on the workload. Obviously, the Raiders declined Josh Jacobs' 5th-year option in the offseason, so this will likely be his last season in Oakland.
They drafted
Vegas.
Vegas. They drafted Zamir White, who is a very talented running back. The reason he went so low is because he tore both his ACLs throughout his college career. So if he can, keep his ACLs intact, I feel like that's going to be a huge steal in the draft for the Raiders. And I eventually think that, he might take on most of the work after Jacobs leaves this season. So he's a good pickup. I like Zamir White a lot. To me, it's all on Derek Carr. They provided him a true number one receiver. Waller's back healthy. The defense is underrated. I don't think that they're like top 10 or anything like that. I don't think they're a fantastic defense. But Max Crosby's probably the most underrated pass rusher in the NFL, if I'm being honest. They have weapons on defense to make plays. But this division is all offense. It's going to be a complete shootout. And Derek Carr, on paper, is the 4th best quarterback in this division. I do have the Raiders at 10-7. I have them finishing 3rd in the division.
So I also gonna agree with you guys. I think they're gonna end up 10-7.
Dude, come up with your own opinion, man. Jesus.
We just said that you were different, man.
All right, you're fired. Get out.
Hey, hold on. We can fix that. Hang on. Give us a second. I can fix that.
I think like Bill said earlier, it's going to be, Ryan said earlier, everything's going to end up on Derek Carr. He got the weapons now. It's time for him to prove that he can do what he can do.
I don't think that he's fantastic. I think he's good, not great. I don't think Derek Carr's trash. I think as far as 4th best quarterbacks in the division go, he's easily the best of them. But
if any chance my brother-in-law Bradford Jones is watching, I'd like to say thank you. I will inform these guys off air what you just did for us. But thank you very much.
Bring that comment up.
That
Krogan, send me your email.
That's why I put him. That's why I'm doing the Broncos last.
Come on.
That's fine. Fire off the email real quick, and we'll throw you in this. I hope you have good stuff like equipment, because if not, I'm kicking you right back off. I've done it in the past. Don't think I won't.
While he's coming in and everything, let's talk about the Kansas City.
Kansas City. I can do that. Let's do the Chiefs.
I apologize to Jake in the super chat. He said, "I'm sorry, Jake. Yeah, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings." I miss Tim Patrick. Me too, man. You know what I miss most about Tim Patrick? Him burning Trayvon Diggs. That was a great highlight.
Let's go to the Chiefs.
Right, you spelled Chief wrong, brother.
Yeah, Chiefs.
Sorry. So one of us put these banners in here, and it was spelled incorrectly.
I'm innocent.
It wasn't me.
Tim, Jesus, dude, you're fired. Like you can't even get the banners right.
I didn't even do it this time. Go ahead, man. You started off with the Chiefs.
Hold on a second. Google that. Yeah, Google that. I don't spell things wrong.
I'm innocent. Don't look at me.
Ow, come on. You are like my thesaurus and my dictionary. You're supposed to know these things.
Let's go, baby. I want to hear the crowd cheering. Whew.
We get off topic, guys. Let's go to
Chiefs. Let's go to the Chiefs quickly because Gina's coming on about 15 minutes. So Kansas City Chiefs, I'll go ahead and start. Obviously, the big talk of the town is they lost Tyreek Hill, who is arguably the most dynamic player in the NFL. He can run the ball. He's faster than lightning. There's not a single cornerback that can keep up with him. And he's Patrick Mahomes' main target downfield. However, I do not think that he is irreplaceable. And that's a weird statement. Not from a talent perspective, but from the perspective that somebody or some bodies, like multiple receivers, can step up and fill the role. The Chiefs went out and got Juju Smith-Schuster in the offseason, who, contrary to most beliefs, he's had a couple of solid seasons in the NFL. You know, he's a reliable, short, yardage pass catcher who's got good hands. They went out and they drafted Sky Moore. I personally think Sky Moore is one of the best talents in the draft. Yes, he played against lesser competition. However, he was in the top 1% of college football in beating man and zone coverage. He was playing against lesser competition, but he's absolutely dominating them to a level that is unfathomable. So, like I said, I think Sky Moore can be utilized in this offense. Now, Andy Reid's struggle has been developing wide receivers over the years. You look at guys like Reggie Brown. You look at Todd Pinkston. You look at James Thrash, his years with the Eagles. You look at Mecole Hardman. You look at all these draft picks that were receivers under Andy Reid teams, and they did not develop well. Andy Reid's best receiver ever was Terrell Owens. Obviously, he did not develop Terrell Owens. It was Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's probably the only guy that, he's drafted and has actually worked out.
Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, Deshaun Jackson was hit or miss.
Like Mike Williams.
Well, in a different aspect.
In a different way, yeah.
So for me, it's all about, how can he develop these receivers? I do like Sky Moore. And, Patrick Mahomes is arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He has one of the best arms in the NFL. He's grown a lot as a decision maker. Yes, he had a career high in interceptions last year. I'm pretty sure the statistic was 7 of them hit directly off his receiver's hands. I think Tyreek Hill was responsible for quite a few of those, actually, for 4. So the numbers are a little bit incorrect. However, I do have faith in him. I have faith that he is the most talented quarterback in the division. And I also have faith in the fact that Andy Reid is far and away, I hope Krogan's listening to this, far and away the best coach in this division. It's not close. Mm-hmm. Give me the Chiefs at 12-5 winning this division because their coaching is vastly superior to everybody else in the division.
Go ahead, Bill.
All right. So for me, a lot of the same stuff that Ryan just said. I'd hate to sit here and hammer, the dead horse here. Mahomes loses one of his favorite targets. Tyreek Hill goes to the Miami Dolphins. You can't deny the impact that Tyreek Hill had on the field. However, he does keep Travis Kelce for obviously. And then Ryan said his name. He said that Andy Reid has failed to develop a wide receiver in Kansas City named Mecole Hardman. Very, very, very boom bust game here, game there. I think with Tyreek Hill out of the lineup and Juju Smith-Schuster not being as quick as Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman is used more. And as a result, I think he gets more obvious repetitions and receptions and touchdowns and yardage. So that's good for Mecole Hardman. As you pointed out, Juju Smith-Schuster is also a new addition. Sky Moore was drafted. We like Sky Moore a lot. Based on last year's win percentage, it's worth pointing out that the Chiefs have the 5th toughest schedule coming into the season. Based on last year's win percentage, obviously we can't predict what every team is going to do this year based on last year's win percentage. And as a result of that, I have the Chiefs finishing at 11-6 and winning the first place in this division.
What place did you have the Raiders in?
3rd. Okay. I think our second team are going to
our division's going to align exactly the same.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Tim?
I have I want to say 12-5.
Damn right you do. Good job.
And
you're hired again.
They're going to be second in division.
At 12-5, you think the Chiefs are
hired again
in the division?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking for a new podcasting host here at BSA.
I agree with Ryan about Andy Reid, and he's probably the best coach in the division, no matter what.
Not most probably, he most certainly is.
And due to our past experiences with other hosts, we will definitely be drug testing the next one before they come on the show.
All right, let's go to the Chargers.
Chargers, it is.
Did I spell it right, Allie?
So, to be fair, I have Stacy check every spelling I do.
Big conhones.
All right, Al.
I'm running through these comments real quick. I'm sorry. Keep up if you can.
So Krogan thinks Juju leads the Chiefs in wide receivers. I agree with that. However, I think it's just going to be because he's more. He has a more dominant first half. I
would like to point out that she is an unpaid tech person for anybody who may be watching. It's important that I say that. You guys don't know why, but it's very important.
Anyway, I agree with Krogan, although I think it's going to be pretty close because I think once the second half picks up and Sky Moore picks up the speed of the NFL, he leads the Chiefs in receiving in the second half. As far as receivers go, obviously Travis Kelce will eat the target. But
that's my next question about Bill. You said McCall Harmon's going to get more work. Do you think McCall Harmon's going to finish above Juju?
No. Okay. No. I agree with Ryan. Sky Moore will lead the Chiefs in the second half of the season. Juju Smith-Schuster will be wide receiver 2 there, but Mecole Hardman will hammer his way into a definitive wide receiver 3 role versus like what he's been doing the last couple of years as a wide receiver 3.
Okay. Bill, you can start us off with the Chargers since Ryan went first last 2 times.
Okay. The Chargers have arguably the best quarterback in this division. I know Mahomes and him are close. However, if we're talking about like pure talent, arm strength, stuff like that, I think Justin Herbert is the best quarterback in this division. Ryan does not agree with me the way he's leaning back like that. I can see, which is fine.
Before this whole conversation started.
Good that we disagree here. The running game is more of a passing attack. You don't really have a downhill tumbling guy. Thank you, Tom McCarthy, for hopping on. You don't have a downhill tumbling running back. Isaiah Spiller is a little bit more that than Austin Eckler is, but their running attack is more of a passing attack, which in close games, as you saw against the Raiders at the end of the season last year, it can be more detrimental than helpful. And I think that plagues the Chargers a bit here. You've got a defense that spends a lot of time on the field. The team as a whole is not as good as the other teams in the league. Williams and Keenan Allen are still both really good as wide receivers. As I've already pointed out, very boom or bust one way or the other. It's like week to week. Justin Herbert just decides 12 to 14 targets for Williams, 8 or 7 to 8 for Allen, and then the next week he switches it up. My concern with the Chargers here is that they lack depth at most positions. So for me, they finished 4th in the division. They finish at 9-8, still a winning record. However, they finished 4th in the division. I did the same freaking thing as Ryan. And I want you guys to know that I did this about 2.5 hours ago when I got home from work. So this had nothing. I didn't talk to Ryan. I made this list. I thought about it, sat down, really did it, spent my time on it. And then I wrote another article. I'll get into that at the end.
I didn't have a single thing written down.
Oh, well, that's good for you. I actually typed stuff in. So much for not winging it.
I'm not winging it. I just know everything.
All right, go ahead, Ryan.
All right. Anyway, no, I'm not done.
Wow,
So because of their lack of depth in the lineup and everything that they've got going on, I think that they just don't hold up to a full season of brutal assault from the rest of the teams in this division. They finished 9-8.
I agree with record. I agree with division placement. I think Bill missed the biggest point. It missed the biggest Chargers weakness, coaching. Brandon Staley.
That's fair. That's fair.
It was evident in Week 17 last year that he was a very brand new coach. Obviously, the Raiders were very willing to tie that game. Now, I could see the Chargers going 10-7. Like I touched on, they made the huge Khalil Mack addition. Him and Joey Bosa are just going to be an absolute terror coming off the edge. It's going to be insane. Derwin James is coming back, hopefully healthy for a full season. He's one of the most talented safeties in football. It all comes down, where it comes down to Derek Carr, really. For the Raiders, it comes down to Brandon Staley as the head coach of the Chargers. How much has he improved? How much has he grown going into his second year at the helm? Is he going to continue to let Justin Herbert let it fly? Which is exactly what he should do. That offense absolutely has to run through Justin Herbert. As you touched on, Mike Williams, very boomer bust, 3rd in the NFL in red zone targets, though. The Keenan Allen is Mr. Consistent. He's not the huge red zone threat that Mike Williams is, but he's going to get his 5 to 6 to 7 catches a game. He's a very consistent, very possession, good route running receiver. And that's exactly the perfect complement to Austin Eckler, who's your short yardage out of the backfield, quick dump off, kind of make a move, make some guys miss. And Mike Williams, who's your boomer bust, big player and red zone guy. They don't have a real tight end. Them and the Broncos don't really have tight ends. They don't utilize tight ends like the other two teams do in this division. So, but I do have the Chargers at 9-8. I think they improved from last year. However, I just don't, this division's a massacre. And when you're talking about, Andy Reid versus Josh McDaniels versus Brandon Staley, Krogan, brother.
I'm just throwing them up. I'm not reading them. I'm not screening them. I'm just throwing them up.
I'm not even going to mention that name when we talk about the Broncos because he is irrelevant. Like I said, it just comes down to coaching for me. Brandon Staley's going to make the improvements. However, with this division being as tough as it is, I see 9 and 8 and 4th in the division. I could potentially see all 4 of these teams making it to the playoffs. I think it's a realistic possibility. However, I agree with Bill. I do think that only 3 of these teams make the playoffs. I think another team from the AFC North has to make it. And then you could you look at the AFC West or East, and you got New England, you got Miami, who are very good teams. They're both probably going to miss the playoffs.
All right.
Now, the last benefit for the Chargers is they do have a 4th place schedule, so they probably have the easiest schedule in the division.
So I am gonna disagree with you guys and said they're gonna go 13 and 4.
God, what?
And
Help wanted. Help wanted.
Like Cat Brand said, the defense is gonna win them a lot of games. I think.
I'm about
bring
to
that comment back up.
disappear from this podcast faster than Timmy's career did. Watch this. I'm back.
But that's why you guys put me on here. Different opinions, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
I honestly think the Chargers gonna surprise a lot of teams this year. They lost a lot of games by 1 touchdown last year.
They lost a lot of games by 1 touchdown last year.
And they improved their defense.
Dude, God, man. I always knew Krogan was that guy that just listens to every piece of training camp news. Unbelievable.
But I think they're going to go 13 and 4 and finish first in the division. Let's talk about the Broncos for Krogan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we got no other choice because I can't even respond to that stupidity.
Yeah, let's just skip them, dude. God.
Go ahead.
All right, I'll go first.
No,
Krogan,
Yeah,
Krogan, you're my boy. You're my boy, Krogan. The Broncos are going to finish second in the division. I think at 11 and 6. I think this division goes perfectly down the row. They had already the best defense in the division, in my opinion. I don't think that changed, even with the upgrades that the Chargers made on defense. Russell Wilson absolutely elevates everybody on that offense. Russell Wilson has not had a relevant tight end since Jimmy Graham's first season in Seattle. So no, Albert will not be relevant. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm not going to try. Albert O will not be relevant, to be honest.
Yeah.
Here's what happened in Seattle. Tyler Lockett, very relevant. DK Metcalf, very relevant. Running backs and tight ends, not so much. Here's what's going to happen in Denver. Jerry Jeudy, very relevant. Cortland Sutton, very relevant. Javonte and Melvin, semi-relevant. Tight ends, no. On top of that, Denver has a way better running game than Seattle's pretty much ever had in Javonte and Melvin, so they're just going to run the ball more. The game's not going to be as much in Russ's hands as it was in Seattle, which is sad because it wasn't in Russ's hands at all. They didn't really let Russ cook. But it's going to be the Jeudy and Sutton show. Me personally, I think Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton were on pace to be the better receivers on this team, but Tim Patrick is obviously out for the season with a torn ACL. So I think it's Cortland Sutton show. I think he leads the team in targets, receptions, yards, touchdowns, the whole 9. But 11-6, second place, wildcard team.
11-6, second place, same record that I have the Chiefs. However, there will be like a head-to-head situation that the Chiefs are victorious on. So the Broncos finish 11-6, also second place in the division, also make the playoffs. The addition of Russell Wilson is bigger than a lot of the league, I think, realized because of how Russell wasn't used in Seattle the last few years. Like as Ryan already said it, it's going to be wide receiver, maybe a little bit of wide receiver, and that running game. Whatever tight end is on that team, we already can't pronounce his name. I'm not going to attempt it again. He's going to be a significant afterthought. And listen, if in 7 or 21 weeks It turns out that Albert O, whatever his last name is one of the best tight ends in football because Russell
I'll come
Wilson
on here and say I'm wrong. I've done it.
I will come on here and openly admit that I was wrong. It's not going to happen. I'm extremely confident that it's not going to happen. But that, as Ryan pointed out already, that pairing of Williams and Gordon in the backfield, regardless of what the split is going to continue to be dominant. In addition to percentage of last season's wins, they have the very close second easiest path to the playoffs this season, only second to the Chargers, and one of the easiest in the AFC because of their record last year. So outside of playing in their division, they play a lot of weak teams, and as such, 11-6. Russell Wilson, really big part of that offense, and go not go Broncos, but Broncos in the playoffs.
Let's ride, psych. That was the cringiest video I've ever seen in my whole life.
So I'm gonna say the Broncos gonna finish at 9-8 and last in the division. But I think they're still gonna make the playoffs.
Grogan, where you at?
I still think they're gonna make the playoffs. So I can't.
Hold
really
on, time out. I hate to jump divisions here, and I know that this is your show. So you mean to tell me there's only one team out of the AFC North that's going to make the playoffs, and that all three wildcard teams are coming from the West?
Yes.
Until we do next week's show. Keep in mind these shows connect.
No. You're right. I'm sorry. Broncos won't make the playoffs.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ryan. You're right. I'm sorry.
I was about to say,
because we talked about it earlier too. We talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
So you're right. My fault. I'm sorry, Jake. Broncos won't make it.
Yeah. See, I just wanted to correct you now in case people are watching next week and they're like, they really got See, the fans are already calling for your head, man. We're gonna have to make the business decision.
That's fine. I understand. No problem.
We got a ETA on Gina, or what's up?
Let's just push to the NFC.
All right, let's hold off on the Niners, Timmy.
Yep.
Okay. You want to change the screen?
I want to. Well, first we can just, since Ryan went first with the AFC side, I'll go first with the NFC side. You're supposed to ask me what I think of this division.
Oh, I'm sorry. What do you think of this division, Bill?
It's all right, little buddy. You'll get it. So the NFC West, much like the AFC West, is a pretty solid division. I think you got three teams that could potentially make the playoffs out of this division. I'm not saying that three will. I said potentially. And one team suffering a pretty significant suspension. Obviously, we'll get into that. But you got the reigning Super Bowl champions. Yeah, in the Los Angeles Rams, the Cardinals, who went, what were they, 12 or 13-4 last year, or 12-5? I don't remember what the Cardinals were last year, but they were a really dominant team. And now you got the fact that the 49ers went to an NFC championship game with Jimmy Garoppolo, and their quarterback play is likely to get better. So you've got good teams in this division. They're going to battle. So I'm looking, again, same thing, looking forward to the interdivisional battles with these teams this season. Our favorite show comes on in, what is it, 3.5 weeks here, Ryan? NFL Red Zone. We'll get to watch a lot of it.
I miss Scott Hansen. I dream about Scott Hansen. I hear his voice in my sleep.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I hear 7 hours of commercial-free football starts now.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Excuse me, I gotta go take 30 seconds.
Last year you couldn't watch it, Ryan, because you had to work second shift.
I know. I haven't watched NFL Red Zone since week 2 last year.
Whew, that gotta hurt.
Yeah, so I'm really dying. I got hey, y'all got any more of that Red Zone? But this division, there's three good teams, on paper. Obviously, there's still time for Seattle to make a move at quarterback. I think they become much more respectable if they go out and get said Jimmy Garoppolo. However,
I hear Jimmy G, it might be going to the Browns.
Yeah, I heard that rumor too. Yeah, he could go anywhere at this point. I imagine, there's enough teams that need quarterback help. I've heard the Giants, I've heard the Browns, I've heard Seattle, I've heard Carolina still. So it's going to be interesting where he goes, but at the same time, I don't think it matters so much for me in the order of the division. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is enough firepower for the rest of Seattle to keep up with the other three teams. But as far as those three teams go, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be a nightmare. The Rams were Super Bowl representative and winners, obviously, and they didn't even win their own division. The 49ers took that division and beat them twice, almost beat them 3 times. But Jaquarius Tart, I believe it was, dropped that interception in the middle of the field. He's now an Eagle, so we are so blessed with that. Yeah, it's going to be there. This show has 7 really good teams in there. The AFC West as a whole is going to be chaotic. And if you just take, the Seahawks out of this, if you threw those 7 teams in it would be such a mess. That would be a good playoff in itself. The whole West would just be a good playoff. But to me, it's going to be so hard to see who wins this division. It really comes down to a couple key pieces. But anyway, we'll get into that when we get to the specific teams.
Who do you want to go first, Timmy?
Since I went out of order last time, we can't go 49ers yet, so let's go Cardinals.
Cardinals it is.
Yep. Go ahead, Ryan.
As we all know, Kyler Murray just got paid lots of money. We talked about it a little bit. There's a discussion on whether he got overpaid or not. I would say that he did. I think that contract clause that everybody heard about, his study clause, got removed, where he had to study 4 hours a week. That contract clause gave me big Jamarcus Russell vibes. I know that everybody kind of knows what I'm talking about. The studying blank film saying he was studying blitz packages, blah, blah, blah. Drake London just hurt his knee. He's out for the rest of the game.
Take it from me, Ryan.
Hoping that's precautionary. Anyway, so the Cardinals, it really comes down to, can they survive until DeAndre Hopkins gets back? I think the answer is yes. I don't see them having the same kind of production at running back from James Conner as they did last year. He scored a lot of touchdowns.
20, I think.
But I could see, the addition of Marquise Brown does open up that offense a little bit. If they decide they want to use Rondale Moore a little bit more to his skill set, it opens up the offense a little bit more. They could be running a full-blown, college-style air raid offense, truthfully, with Brown and Moore until DeAndre Hopkins gets back. And even when Hopkins gets back, it just makes it better. Running quarterbacks tend to utilize their tight ends. They got one of the best pass-catching tight ends of the last, 6-7 years in Zach Ertz. There's a lot of weapons on the offense. And the defense, I feel like, overachieved a little bit last year. So I think they take a step backwards this year. I got the Arizona Cardinals finishing 10-7, 3rd in the division.
Yeah, the biggest thing I have here is D-Hop is suspended for 6 games, obviously. That's going to be a huge hit. As Ryan pointed out, also Hollywood Brown goes over there. He's probably going to open up the offense a little bit more. They become extremely more dynamic when DeAndre Hopkins comes back. Yes, he's aging. No, he does not have the same footwork and steps that he had a few years ago, but he is still a really good wide receiver, and he's going to show that when he gets back on the field. Kyler Murray, as Ryan also said, got paid. See what I did there?
No, what did you do? Can you run that back?
I said Kyler Murray, yes. So James Conner earns the top running back spot. They do draft another young running back to platoon with him a little bit, but it's really James Conner's position to lose. I agree with Ryan. He will not score 20 touchdowns this season.
They also traded for Williams. Darren
They
Williams.
signed
Darrell Williams. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think he'd be the backup for now.
They're talking about not Keontae Ingram. What's the other one?
I know.
They're talking about the other one being the backup right now.
Darrell
Williams might get cut.
Yeah, I heard Darrell Williams might get cut. That's what I heard. Now, overall, the team overperformed, in my opinion, last year. They finished. They were. I looked it up. 13-4 last year. They won the division, not the Niners. But again, they overperformed, in my opinion. I think they caught a lot of teams off guard with the game plan that Kingsbury had going in. And then later in the season, you saw they struggled a lot more because defenses really started figuring out the offense. Offenses started figuring out.
Kyler Murray was hurt at the end of last year too. Didn't run as much. I think having a first place schedule isn't going to help them a whole lot.
Correct. So I've got the Cardinals also finishing at 10-7.
Can you two stop agreeing? Holy.
I didn't write none of my stuff down. So,
however, I have the Cardinals finishing 3rd in the division.
That's what I said too.
That's literally what I said.
I'm sorry. I have the Cardinals finishing 2nd in the division.
I was like,
my bad. I have finishing 2nd in the division, and an early playoff bounce.
Like last year. So I have the Cardinals finishing 9-8 and finishing third in division. I had to do it.
He's under the table like
Listen, my wonderful wife is an math teacher. I've still got to learn a couple
she's
things.
sitting back behind you like 9-8.
But yes, I think the Cardinals will not make the playoffs this year at 9-8. So
Understandable.
Let's go Seahawks.
All right, I'm going first. I literally typed this in my screen, right? Whew, this is a bad team. Even if they get another quarterback that is better than Drew Lock or Geno Smith, they're unlikely to make waves. Chris Carson obviously had to retire because of his neck injury. Bobby Wagner's gone. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are looking around like it's Uncle Phil's living room in the last episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They just don't know where everybody went.
That's a good reference.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. And don't forget Rashad Penny and that little gang there. But seriously, the Seahawks are just one of those teams where they're going to have to really, really surprise people to get some wins. So I've got them finishing 6-11 and in the basement of the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Last in the whole NFC.
No.
I retract that basement comment.
Maybe in the West.
The Falcons, the Bears.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm going to actually agree with the record. However, I don't think the I don't think the Seahawks play as bad as a lot of people think they do. They are literally a quarterback away from being an over 500 team. The rest of that roster is actually really good. I mean, they have two very good receivers. They have a good running back when he's healthy, and when he's not, they just drafted, they spent second-round capital on Kenneth Walker. The defense is always going to be, at least, semi-competent. They can kind of keep the team in the game long enough. I see 6-11, but I could also see like a lot of one-score losses. Like I see a lot of really close games for the Seahawks, just simply due to the fact that they just don't have the quarterback play. They're going to get pounded on by the rest of the division. The division's significantly better than they are. But as a whole, if you look at the construct of the Seattle roster, like they're not really that bad, like outside of the quarterback play. So I also see 6-11, but I don't see like an awful 6-11. I see 6-11 because they're going to go 1-5 against their division and then like 5-6 against everybody else.
So I think they're going to finish 7-10. Like fine, I think they're going to be throwing a ball to DK and Tyler Lockett a lot, no matter what. That's basically the offense.
Don't forget Noah Fant.
Huh?
Don't forget Noah Fant.
Okay, yeah, Noah Fant too, but Drew Lock.
I didn't forget about
him. Exactly. Drew Lock was the quarterback last year in Denver and didn't throw to Noah Fant at all. So I think they're going to be last in the division, obviously. But like I said, I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot because they're going to be down. So I think
who starts more games for them?
I think Geno.
If they don't go get anybody else, Drew Lock.
I agree with Tim, actually. I think it's Geno just simply because he's spent a year in the offense already.
I think their bye is late in the season, right? I think their bye is like week 11.
And that's why I think it's Drew Lock. I think he starts until the bye.
Well, Geno's the starter at this point in time.
Yeah.
Oh, is he? That's my bad.
Yeah, Geno's the starter at this point.
So going with Drew Lock.
Yeah, I'm still going with Geno.
Yeah, so their bye is week 11. That's when Drew Lock will take over.
It really all depends if they stand pat at quarterback. I think it's Geno. I mean, but obviously, like I touched on earlier, there's so much time left for them to go get Jimmy G.
So I know this isn't football topic, but Bryce Harper agreed to play in the American.
Yeah, the World Classic for the USA team. Yeah,
good job.
I just want to give you a heads up. Like you stole Drake London from me, but
as a Drake London owner, I was very concerned.
Fair enough. Oh. Let's go to the Rams.
Yeah, is Gina getting on this thing?
She hasn't gotten back to me, so I'm going to assume no at this point.
All right.
Let's go Rams first, still, just in
We're going
case.
to keep pushing.
Go ahead, Ryan.
They're going to win the division. 12-5. 12-5 is probably my realistic guess. 13-4 is not out of the question. A lot of people, Cooper Kupp obviously had a fantastic season, a very historical season as far as receiving production goes. Matthew Stafford's coming back. Yeah, he had a small elbow procedure in the offseason. He's getting some shots. Sean McVay's not concerned, so neither am I. Cam Akers is coming back healthy. Him and Darrell Henderson are splitting touches in the backfield, which is probably the smartest way to go about it. They're just the best team in the division. They have the best defensive players. They still got Jalen Ramsey. They still got Aaron, unblockable Donald. It's not even we're talking about the division at this point. We're talking about contending for the number 1 seed in the NFC, which is not an unrealistic expectation given the departure in Green Bay. So to me, the Rams do finish the number 1 seed in the NFC. I think they lock it up week 17. All the starters take an easy break week 18. Give me 13-4 for these guys.
I got 12-5, finishing first in the division. Allen Robinson's a solid addition. He takes that spot that Odell Beckham Jr. vacates. Now, having said that, there's rumors that Odell Beckham Jr. might be going back to the Rams. So if you give me Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., Allen Robinson, and Van Jefferson as your 4 starting wide receivers, I actually increased their wins by a number. Giving Matt Stafford that many weapons is going to be a dangerous offense to try and contend with. Most teams don't have that amount of corners to just line up on the field. It's just not available. So for me right now, where they sit, they're a 12-5 team. Cooper Kupp, as Ryan pointed out, coming off a historic year. Matt Stafford coming off a great year himself. They're obviously the team to beat in the West. They're the team to beat in the NFC right now because they're coming off of the Super Bowl victory.
Team to beat in the league.
Team to beat in the league because they just come off the Super Bowl victory. And let's not put down anything that Tyler Higbee has started to do with Matt Stafford there. He's become a pretty prominent tight end there in Los Angeles with Matt Stafford as the quarterback. I'm not saying he's like super significant in game planning. However, teams have to look out for him. So for me, 12-5, I think they slip up a little bit against the Niners again in the division, probably lose one of the Cardinals and 1 or 2 somewhere else.
My biggest thing that I've seen, first off, I'm going to touch on this comment from John. They're going to repeat. I will never bet on anybody to repeat any kind of championship. I don't think people understand how hard it is to even go back, back-to-back appearances, the stuff that Tom Brady's done throughout his career. Like it's unprecedented. However, I'm never going to bet on anybody to win back-to-back because it's just so hard to do. The odds are, while on paper, yes, they look like they have a great team. They are returning pretty much everybody, maybe even gaining a little bit at the running back position with a healthy Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers, who is a great pass catching and running weapon out of the backfield. But it's so hard to do that. Sports are so unpredictable. One injury to Cooper Kupp drastically changes, that offense. One injury to Matthew Stafford drastically. There's so many things that can happen. It is so hard to guarantee a repeat. So if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet on the Rams to repeat. However, on paper, it wouldn't surprise me.
I am saying the Vans will finish 12-5. I didn't have to use my finger this time, guys. I got this.
Because it was less than 5, right? Or it was 5 and less. You could keep going.
Exactly.
Good job.
Matthew Stafford throws the ball, and he don't care if it's the interception or not. He's going to sling the ball downfield.
Very Brett Favre-esque.
Yep.
He don't care. If he's going to have weapons, if Odell goes back to them, I'm taking Matthew Stafford any day.
He did throw 17 interceptions last year. It's not like he was flawless, 40 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He turned the ball over a little bit, but that's his style of football. He's a gunslinger, Yep. And I think everybody from this point on in their career is always going to get compared to Brett Favre when it comes to the term gunslinger, but that's really who he is. Now that he finally has the weapons to do something, he's more on the positive side of it, but he could be even better this year. Maybe as his arm strength starts to deteriorate, he's 34 years old. He becomes a little bit more efficient. But for now, if he's got the arm strength, let it fly, buddy.
Yeah, let's not forget that he's got the two number one wide receiver receiving yards in history are under Matt Stafford. Let's not put that away at all. Matt Stafford's still gonna gun it, and he's got a pretty good. I think what did he complete? 68.6% of his passes last season. Like he's accurate as well. You're talking 7 out of 10 passes hits its target. So yeah, the Rams are obviously the team to beat for me in the NFC right now. But I agree with Ryan. I'm not saying in any aspect that they're going to repeat.
Yeah, on paper, no injuries, that type of stuff. I could see a repeat, but there's just too many crazy things that happen in the sport of football for me to agree that they're going to repeat. I don't know who will win the Super Bowl. That's why I mean, at this point in time, I'm not going to make a bet on it, but there's just such an interesting dynamic of football. So
yeah, we're going to talk about the 49ers now. Yep. But I was going to say that the Rams are going to finish first in my division. So then,
you gave us your prediction. Yeah.
No, you can go first, okay? A little jealous.
I mean, you went Ryan 3 times in a row, bro.
It's easier to look left for me than right.
For what it's worth, I kind of wish you had given me the Rams. I had a lot more to talk about with the Rams. Ryan is the tits on the Niners. He's got like all the information on Trey Lance and everything like that. But what I have written down, Ryan obviously has it in his brain, is Trey Lance is green, obviously, but he played pretty well in his few starts last year. Kyle Shanahan is excellent at putting players with certain skill sets in space and utilizing them to what they are good at, utilizing their abilities to be successful. Let's not take away again. That's a great defensive team over there in San Francisco. It's a really good offensive team that just made it to the NFC Championship game with Jimmy Garoppolo, who is not as good, in my opinion, as Trey Lance. So this is a team that will finish second in this division, and they are going to go 11-6, and they also will be making the playoffs.
I have the Niners second in the division at 10-7. I think they win the tiebreaker over the Cardinals. Trey Lance is probably my favorite prospect. There's a lot of Trey Lance hate out there. A lot of it was developed early in the offseason because the 49ers did not immediately move Jimmy Garoppolo. So there was a lot of development.
Injury was non-contact.
Yeah. Talking about Drake London?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
After one play, actually, funny enough. But like I said, Drake London was going to bust this year, but that's fine. Anyway, back to Trey Lance. Yes, Trey Lance is green. He did not look fantastic passing the ball last year in his first 2 starts. It means nothing, and it shouldn't mean anything to anybody else. The reality of the situation is if we judged every single quarterback on their first 2 starts passing the ball, nobody would get a second year, So if we break this down, ultimately, like, this is Trey Lance's rookie year coming in. He just has a better understanding of the offense now. He's developed, I think, not from the best aspect, but he had the right kind of mentor in Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo plays a safe type of football. He's not going to make the big play. He's not going to make the big mistake. That was something that Trey Lance kind of needed to learn because Trey Lance is a very big play individual. He's very good on his feet, and he has a very strong arm. This is a potential gold mine of a quarterback. This is potentially Josh Allen 2.0 for the 49ers, and if they strike gold with this is going to be massive. There's a lot of work to be done, so sitting him for the first season was the right move. I'm big on Trey Lance's talent. I like his arm talent. I like his mobility. He has all the appropriate weapons around him. George Kittle is probably the most talented tight end in the NFL. He just can't stay healthy for the most part. Deebo Samuel obviously just got his contract. He's a dual threat. He's a wide back, can catch the ball, can run out of the backfield, which really helped Trey. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan teams do a very good job of running the football to take the pressure off of Trey Lance, and Trey can run the ball himself too. Let's not sleep on Brandon Ayuk here, who's a very good deep threat. He just hasn't been properly utilized. 1, because he can't get out of Kyle Shanahan's doghouse, and 2, Jimmy Garoppolo is just not the right type of quarterback for him. I think the weapons are there. I think the coaching is there. I think all the pieces are in place for Trey Lance to succeed. There will just be some growing pains this year. He is in his rookie year, essentially. So I think there will be some growing pains. I don't think that they can catch the Rams yet. I would say in a year or two, they actually become a serious contender for that. But I think all in all, the 49ers are talented enough and coached well enough that they will indeed finish ahead of the Cardinals.
I think they're going to finish 10-7 also, and I'm not huge on Trey Lance, like Ryan said. Like the haters out there, I am one of those haters.
Yeah, you are.
I hope he proves me wrong. I'm not hating on the 49ers. I never hated them. I always liked them as a team. I guess they're going to finish second in the division. It's like a Jalen Hurts in that division, basically. They're going to make it to the playoffs, and the third year would be what really counts for them. Like how he can finish the third year.
I think his floor as a passer is like Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts doesn't nearly have the same kind of arm strength, but I feel like that's probably the worst Trey Lance can do. And like I already made the Josh Allen comp. I don't know that he'll hit the Josh Allen comp, but they're both big-bodied, mobile, strong-arm quarterbacks, so it's possible. I think he falls somewhere probably like in the middle on the higher end of that scale, though.
Okay.
Anything else, Timmy?
Nah, that's it, boys.
That's it? That's your show? That's all you got?
Yeah.
Only 55 minutes, dude? That's it?
I think that's pretty good for my first show. I got five times.
Yeah, dude. Take it over.
5 times.
Yeah, I've never gotten fired 5 times in the same day.
And I'm still on the show. Like, you haven't kicked me off.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, anyway, so like I was saying.
Back to BSing Sports.
I knew that was coming.
All right, that was just take one. We got to do the show all over again with some realistic opinion. I'm just kidding.
We can't. The football's coming on. Eagles.
Yeah, that's true. The Eagles kick off in 4 minutes.
We do, and the Phillies. I know it's not a
First pitch is 7:10.
7:10 exactly.
So I get to watch the starters, and then first pitch will come on.
From what I understand, we're going to get Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown for one series. Devontae Smith is already sitting out this game.
To touch on it real fast, I didn't hear a lot of good things from about that open practice, or just really the practices in general. You know, Jake Biasato, our good friend at Talking 215, they did an episode because him and his co-hosts were both at the open practice, and neither one of them liked what they saw. You know, a lot of errant passes. It was a not defensive dominated. It was just not a good offensive performance. And, I didn't watch the open practice, but if that's the case, I would have these guys play for a whole quarter.
So I get what Jake was saying, but the defense improved. So the offense going to struggle to begin with.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying is it didn't look like the defense dominated the practice. It just looked like the offense fell flat on its face for the most part. And
I'm actually glad you got. Oh, sorry, again.
If that's the case, I would have them play a whole quarter. Be like, y'all need to get this right because we only have 3 games, and realistically, the starters aren't going to play the last one.
That's true. I'm glad you guys brought the Eagles up because I did write a season preview article. It focuses a bit on.
Check it out.
It focuses a bit on, not really the addition of defense so much. I'll write another article about the defensive additions. However, I focus on offense on this one. So it'll be on the website probably in the next hour or so. Go check it out. I'll copy and paste the link to Twitter. I'll copy and paste the link to Facebook. I'll copy and paste the link pretty much anywhere I can find it to copy and paste. So get on there, give it a read. Please make some comments. Everybody who comments on it is awesome for us. And if Ryan and Timmy are done, read Bill's article. I love it. Oh, hold on. That's good. That's good. So that's going to do it for us here at BSing Sports. You ready, Ryan?
Oh, hold on.
Ramble. Extra few words. Thanks for joining us here on BSing Sports, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports.
Thanks for coming out, guys. I appreciate, all the support. That was a very interactive show today. We got, lots of support. Like I said, every like, share, comment, it's all free and it doesn't really take that much effort, believe it or not. So, thanks again, guys.
Stay tuned for BSSN, BSing Sports Network.
Yeah, keep an eye out for BSSN. Also, next week, we will be going over the Norths. So if anybody can come up with a creative title for the show, like Wild Wild Wests, feel free. It also might be our biggest show. We might potentially have some guests coming on. So check that out, guys. That being said, we're out.